What's up everybody, it's Joe here with Joseph Blake Photography, and in today's video we've got a ton of information about DJI products. We've got the rumored DJI 360, we've got a huge firmware update for the Action 5, we've got a customs and import ban here in the United States, and I want to update some of the information that I gave you earlier this week about the Air 3S. Let's just jump right into it. Real quick, I'm Joe. I am a portrait and adventure photographer here in Las Vegas. We talk about tech and news and gear on this channel. If that's the kind of thing you're into, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if at the end of the video you think that I've done a good job, go ahead and hit the like button. Enough of that, socials down below. Let's talk about all this DJI news. So first things first, very exciting. We have seen regulatory filings, which normally means that a product is about to get released for a product called the DJI 360. Now we just got the updated Action 5 Pro. We just got the Air 3S. DJI is really on a roll, but it looks like they're about to jump into the 360 action camera market to compete with GoPro and Insta360 in this very kind of interesting product category. Now I do own an Insta360. This is mine right here. I really do enjoy this camera, though I think the quality could be a little bit better. This is the X3. This has a 6K capable sensor, whereas the GoPro Max, their 360 camera that came out in 2019 that still hasn't been updated, has also 6K capability, but it is stitched down to 5.3K. The latest version of this, the X4, is an 8K camera. And so while we don't have specific details about the 360 from DJI, we can assume that it would be borrowing a lot of the technology out of the Osmo Action 5 Pro. So if we kind of start with that in mind, if we had dual 1/1.3 inch sensors in a slightly larger body that is hopefully just as rugged and with a larger battery, I think that the image quality and the stabilization techniques that DJI uses in that camera put into a 360 camera would actually be very, very interesting. Obviously, the 360 cameras do not sell as widely, or they just don't push as many units as the traditional action cameras because, to be honest, you have to really want the 360 camera. And the video out of this 360 camera, again, while it's pretty good, high resolution image comes from stitching both sensors together. So if we get an 8K image from DJI stitching two 4K sensors together, what I'm actually going to be most curious to see is how much of that AI-driven technology they've been pushing in both the drones and the action cameras will kind of come in and really kind of make that image look really good. But let me know down in the comments if a 360 camera is something that you were anticipating or hoping for from DJI. Now, before we get off of the topic of new products from DJI, and I didn't mention this at the top of the video, but I do want to just bring up quickly that we are potentially going to be getting an RS4 Mini, which is not a surprise considering the fact that we had an RS3 Mini, and now that we have the RS4 and the RS4 Pro. If you are in the market for a small, lightweight gimbal, and you already use or love DJI products in this space, maybe hold off on buying anything new. Although I will tell you that I will say, and I will link to this video here, although I will say, and I will link to this video above, that the Cinepure Weebill 3E gimbal that I reviewed just a few weeks ago is very small, very lightweight, and very budget friendly. So if you're in the market for a very small gimbal, go ahead and check that out. There's links down below. Next, I want to move on to talking about the firmware update that was just released for the Action 5 Pro. So new firmware has been released. It is in beta currently, and it is version 1.01.0520. One of the items that it adds is the ability to modify the bitrate from standard to high. And so while previously a lot of people had complained about the fact that at 4K 60, you were getting significantly lower bitrate, which means that detailed areas, things like water, vegetation, really anything that moves really fast would potentially get just turned into blocks, right? It would be compressed out with a variable bitrate in order to protect both file size, battery, and heat. So DJI did the right thing here, and they responded to customer complaints. They released a beta firmware. We are testing it now, and it now allows you to add that high bitrate option. And early indications are that while it will absolutely increase how fast you fill up your SD card. It does not seem to significantly impact battery life, and overheating has not yet been reported as an issue. So I want to congratulate DJI on doing, honestly, the right thing for their consumers. I wish it had been something that was at launch. I think that contributed to a lot of the image quality issues that people complained about when it first came out. But that, coupled with the other firmware update that we got that improved 4K 120, that added color recovery for 10-bit and added super night mode for 1080p up to 60 frames per second. I think, again, with software updates, they're really doing a phenomenal job at fleshing out this camera. Hoping to see that update out of beta soon and be available for just about everybody. One more item that I didn't really include at the top of the video that I wanted to mention, another DJI product that we are potentially going to be seeing very soon, is going to be a Mic 2 Mini. If you're not familiar with the Mic 2 product, it is a Bluetooth-based microphone system that allows you to hook up wireless microphones to your computer, but it also acts as a Bluetooth microphone for things like your phone. And because of the fact that it has a 32-bit float system, it makes it effectively impossible to clip your audio. Now, what will a mini version of this microphone mean? We're not 100% sure. Obviously, some diminished battery life. My assumption is maybe shorter distance. I don't know if it'll still be able to do 32-bit float, but I assume that it will be compatible, probably still using Bluetooth, with all of the other DJI mic compatible items. But combine this with the DJI Neo, throw in the new RS4 Mini, you've got a lot of lightweight, you've got a lot of small, lightweight gear coming from DJI, and a lot of products coming from them in general before the end of the year, as I'm sure that they expect the CCP Drones Act to gain momentum after the election cycle. The next item that I want to talk about is, in fact, that ban, which really has not made any new momentum in the US Congress. It was actually dropped off of the Defense Appropriations Bill, but it's still out there looking to get attached to other things. Now, whether you think that this is a good idea or a bad idea, or where you stand on China and where you stand on these products, right now what's going on is that the CBP, Customs and Border Protection in the United States, has halted the import of many DJI products. This is not the ban, this is not the CCP Drones Act, because that hasn't passed. There's another law called the Uyghur Forced Labor Protection Act. And that law is designed to allow US agencies to prevent the use of devices or products or services that are involved in the forced labor or slave labor of Uyghurs in China. And the way that that law works is that if an entity is found to be or accused to be, or if CBP believes that they are using forced labor somewhere in their supply chain, they can halt that import. And it is up to the organization, it's up to that entity, in this case DJI, to prove that that is not the case. DJI has responded and said that they are working with CBP to get this taken care of, but this has been going on actually for just a little while, which is why DJI Neo shipments have been slim and difficult to get a hold of. It is significantly impacting the ability for users to purchase the Air 3S that was just released, and until it's cleared up, it will continue to make DJI products difficult to purchase here in the United States. Now, wherever you land again on this issue, what's important to know is that if you were waiting to make a purchase, maybe it's coming to the end of the year and you own a business and you've got to invest some capital in new equipment, and you're making the decision between a DJI product or something else, or if you were going to wait for something new, this may go on for just a little while. So it may impact your ability to purchase these items, or maybe if you're just looking for stocking stuffers or a gift for that drone pilot in your life, this type of thing may impact your ability to do that. So something to keep in mind. Now, lastly, I want to respond to a couple of comments that I got on my video about the Air 3S, where I said that I didn't think that it was enough of an upgrade and that I didn't think that it was a pro product. Now, it doesn't have pro in the name, and I said that in the video. So obviously, if you're looking for a pro product, that's not the one that you would necessarily buy. But there are a lot of people who are on the fence about whether or not they want to go with the Mavic and wait, or buy the Mavic 3 now, or if they should invest in the Air 3S. And I spent a majority of that video talking up what I thought were some of the really nice things about the Air 3S and this update. But for me and for other professionals, I didn't think that it met the level that honestly I was hoping for or expecting for my needs specifically. And I got a lot of people saying that I didn't understand photographic principles and all this sort of thing. And allow me just to clear two things up, because there is one thing that I didn't, I think, clarify clearly, which was about the variable aperture. So the variable aperture obviously can be used for a couple of different things. The number one use for the variable aperture is the ability to control how much light is let into the sensor. And I had people saying, one person in particular said, "We'll use a variable ND, dummy." Well, of course you could use a variable ND. That makes perfect sense, except that you have to set it when you launch. The advantage of having a adjustable aperture is that you can control it remotely. So as lighting conditions change mid-flight, which happens, you would be able to adjust and not have to land the drone to adjust your variable ND. I use variable NDs on my Mavic that has an adjustable aperture. So I get that, right? I'm no dummy when it comes to that kind of stuff, and I do that all the time when I fly my drone. But the other thing was, when I was talking about aperture, I mentioned focusing clarity or sharpness, and I think that I didn't do a very good job really of explaining what I meant there, which is to say that this is a 1.8 aperture camera, the 24mm that we're talking about, and it's just constantly shooting wide open. Yes, you can add an ND filter to it to bring that down, but if you're doing stills or if you're shooting wide panoramas, even though the focus distance of an f1.8, if you're filming a wide grand vista, that's not an issue. I'm not worried about things being in focus. It's the fact that, and this is just the physics of lenses, that when you stop them down, they get sharper. That's just true. So while there are a lot of other things that change, like the plane of focus for a lens like that, and I'm, again, not talking about focus distance or even the plane of focus. I know everything's going to be in focus if my closest subject is 200 feet away and I'm, filming a panorama that's, miles in full distance. It's just the fact that these lenses do better when they're stopped down. All lenses do. It's fact. Now, there are some lenses that are phenomenally sharp full open, but this applies to every optical situation. If you stop it down, you do end up with a sharper image. Now, if you stop down too far, obviously, and on the Mavic this is the case, if you stop down past, like, I think f8, f9, right, you really start to lose optical quality. And really, I think that, at least for my Mavic, I try not to go past like 5.6. But to those of you in the comments saying that I don't know what I'm talking about, yes, I do. But I appreciate everybody who commented on that video. And the other thing that I wanted to mention was with that bitrate issue that we seem to be seeing out of that camera, hopefully we will see the same kind of update that we have for the Action 5 in the Air 3S. That would really, really be great. And I have confidence that DJI will do that. They seem to be interested in that kind of thing, so excited there. That is a lot of information, and I hope you're able to stick to the end. If you're interested in stuff like this, I would really appreciate it if you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button if you thought that this was worth your time. Feel free to comment down below, argue with me about bit rates and optical. Let's go 12 rounds talking about stopping down our lenses. Happy to have that conversation. But I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.